Hey, welcome back. So here's the question of the day. Are you thinking of running a business? What do you need to know? How do you run a business? What should you be thinking? What is your mindset? Well, you're going to find out today because my name is Vin Dacquino and our guest is Michael. Mike Stephensen, talk to me. Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it?
Thanks, Vin. So my name, as you said, is Mike Stephensen. My company is called QDC Marketing, and what we do is that we help small businesses and not-for-profits as well as mid-sized businesses find their voice and find the right people to hear that voice.
So you give them the mindset they need to be businessmen.
Yeah.
Business people.
Business people. I mean, like you're either a business person or you're a creative person, you know, depending on which side of the brain that you're really thinking with. I just help you to see things clearer. So it's not about me. I always make it about the client or whoever I'm trying to help.
Right. And it's what they should be thinking if they intend to open a business. Now, is there any particular kind of business or is it just whatever business?
It's whatever business, but I specialize in marketing. So like when somebody is trying to open up a business,
How do you get out there?
How do you get out there? Like what is the best thing for you to do?
I mean, it's true for writers too. I face this all the time. You know, they can write a book, but how do you get the public to read it?
That's right.
And there's billions of books out there. Who is your target audience? And I imagine that's crucial for you.
It's the first thing that we do is we look at who is the targeted audience for our clients.
I mean, if your business is making cupcakes, there's some people.
Then I'm your targeted audience.
If
you're making cupcakes, I'm all for it.
There you go. And I mean, that's the idea. The idea is, first of all, what is your business? And second of all, who are you selling to?
That's right.
And how do you appeal to that audience enough to be successful?
Yep. And in that case, I usually start out as a coach for the business owner. And what I mean by that is, you know, some people have like a genius idea, but they second guess it. And if you second guess your idea, the chances are if you don't believe in what you're doing, it's going to be hard to explain that to other people.
So explain to me what second guessing means.
They may have an idea, but maybe they don't think that they're ready to go out with it. Or
So you have to be confident and you have to believe in what you're about to do.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% time. I ask my writers, would you read this book? And they go, well, you're already in trouble, man.
Right.
Because if your answer isn't yes, and if you don't know why that book would appeal to that audience, then you're in the wrong book.
Absolutely.
You have got to believe in it. You've got to believe that you have something special here.
So there's a couple of writers that I like to read, and one of them, I don't know if I can name him.
Yeah.
His name is Donald Miller.
Okay.
And his whole thing is like this story brand. Actually, that's the name of the book.
Okay.
And
what is it? Story
brand. Okay. And what it does is that it says instead of focusing on all the glitz and glamour and all the rest of that stuff, get back to the basics.
Yeah.
You know,
why should your clientele be interested in what you have to offer?
Yeah.
What do you have to offer?
Primitive. Like if we were cavemen, what is it exactly that we need? We need to make sure that we have food, clothes, shelter, and we want to better ourselves. Get to the basics.
When I tell my writers, they say, how do you write a query letter? And I say, understand what a query letter is. You're questioning. You're asking a publisher if they would be interested in your book. In order for that to happen, you have to show that publisher why that book is interesting. Why would that publisher want to invest in your book? Out of all those books out there, why is your book special?
Exactly.
And they have to put their finger on it. You know, they say, well, it's good reading. And my question is, why? Why should I read your book? What's going to prevent me from taking this book, reading the first page and going, happens all the time.
Yeah.
What can you do to captivate your target audience? And that's what you do.
Correct.
So tell me some of the things that a new business owner should be thinking about.
Think about who the targeted audience is and think about why you got into that type of business in the first place. Because if you keep consistent with that, then you have more of a chance to be successful.
Yep.
And
And just saying, because I want to be rich,
that doesn't
enough.
work.
It doesn't work.
Take money out of the equation. Because typically, if you're a small business, you got about 2 to 3 years before you really make any type
That's
of money
right.
anyway.
You're going to be suffering for a while.
Right. So don't focus on that. Focus on really why are you
Quality,
doing
the
this?
quality of whatever it is that you have.
And keep learning.
Yep.
Keep learning.
Yep.
So just because something worked for one business doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for yours.
Yeah.
And that's where I come in is like I look at your business from top to bottom. I look at your competitors. I do your competitive analysis. And then we come up with a strategy that works for you.
Yeah, that's right. So when you want to ask yourself, why will this work? You have to ask yourself, what are other people doing? And why is it working or not working for them? And what are you going to do that's going to be special and different that makes it work?
For instance, a lot of companies, they want somebody that specializes in their field, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But if it is a local company and they specialize in your field, that means that you're giving the same advice to my competitors.
Yep.
So
Yep.
why would I want you to do the same exact thing?
That's right.
You got to
don't
think
need-
outside the box.
That's right. That's right. And thinking outside of the box is key. And when we say thinking outside of the box, it means you have to be thinking differently. What is so special about you? Why should I stop eating or buying or trying another product if it's the same thing you're doing? Why don't I just stick with what I already have? And that's very important.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with writing. I say, look, it's not your story that I'm really interested in. It's how you're telling it. How do you tell your story? And look at the wonderful things that have happened out there with some people. I look at some of these commercials and I go, clever. And I look at others and go, stupid. You know,
I look at a lot of them and I
yeah,
say
and
stupid,
say
right?
stupid. You know, because what are you trying to say? You know, it just, some of them just don't make sense to me.
Well, that's the point, right? So like you go and you say, listen, I'm starting a new business. I know I got to be on social media. I got to be on all the social media channels because that's what everybody says I need to do. Well, if you are a photographer, chances are you don't need to be on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Because Twitter's a writing-based
Yeah, that's
platform,
writing-based,
right?
and that's right. So, and you have to think about that.
You do.
So you have to think about what exactly it is you do. And again, it always goes back to the target audience. Who are you trying to sell to?
Have you noticed with selling your book that sometimes you'll advertise, right, and you'll use Facebook? So if you use Facebook, your demo is probably between what age? What age do you think that you're trying to reach if you use Facebook?
You know, I would say my audience, believe it or not, goes all the way from high school right to old age.
Right.
You know, so it's a very general audience. So I have to find something that would appeal to all of them. So for this new book, my key is to let them know that I've written another book on this subject years ago, and I have now found records that have never been seen before. And it adds information that no one has ever known. That's the key.
That is.
So when I go do my book talks, I focus on that. And I let them know that there's information here that we didn't know. And more importantly, that information adds to the character of my subject.
So to that point, if you were to sell that book and you were to say, listen, my demo is between 18 and 24.
Yep,
Well, 18 to 24 don't use Facebook anymore.
that's right. So You're at the wrong audience.
You're at the wrong
and,
audience.
And I say the same thing. If you're creating a query letter, they have to know who you're shooting for. And if you send your book to a publisher who doesn't do that kind of work, you could have the best book in the world, but they're not going to buy it. It's like selling a Ford to Chevy dealer.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. And so many times I have wonderful writers who are sending their books to children's publishers, and they're doing adult books, or vice versa. And it's not going to work. Or they're selling fiction to a nonfiction publishing company. Not all publishers publish the same kind of book.
That's right.
So you have to do your homework. So the first thing I do with my writers, I say, I want you to go to Barnes & Noble and go find your book. And they say, what? I said, go to Barnes & Noble and find your book. Find a book that is very, very similar to what you're doing. And then contact that publisher or research that publisher. Go online and say, okay, I think this publisher would like my book. The question is why? Well, many of their authors write similar type books. Now, once you've done that, your job's not done because you said it before. If you're doing exactly what their other writers are doing, what do they need you for?
Exactly.
They're already doing it.
So right now we're in this market that's completely saturated, right? No matter what you do, there's like millions of people that are doing the exact same thing.
So not only do you have to find, I mean, it's like selling hot dogs at a place that features gourmet. If you're going to open your business at an amusement park, do you really want to sell gourmet food there? Or do you want to sell something that's fast and convenient and reasonable? So you have to look at where you are. Yeah. You could have a wonderful business idea in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So that's why I started this, is because I used to work in corporate America and, you know, had a very good career working in corporate America.
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to talk about Michael Stephensen. Who are you and how did you get to this point of where you are today?
Sure. So I grew up in the Bronx.
Okay.
Grew up, my dad passed away when I was 13.
Wow.
But he was very hands-on, very funny, out there guy. He was pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
So when he passed, you know, I went from living in a two-family household to a single-family household, and my mom did the best that she could.
Yep.
But I wound up working as soon as he passed away so that I can continue to go to my school, which was
some
a Catholic
work
school.
ethics.
Yeah. So I worked and I paid my own way through elementary school, and then I paid my way through high school. Went to an all-boy Catholic school. And what I noticed is all the little mom and pop shops that were around me were closing. And whether it be for, you know, the people were dying out or whatever the case may be, it was pretty sad. And then like all these 99-cent stores and stuff started popping up.
Yep.
And it was very hurtful. And then I saw in the classroom, it was like we're learning all this stuff, but it wasn't applicable to life. So,
exactly.
You know, I'm being graded on something that I couldn't see a return on. So in high school, we had a project, and it was a marketing project to start your own company. So me and my friends got together, and we came up with this company called Zero Dynamics. And the company was, we were doing like promotions for different clubs, for teens, and all the rest of the stuff, and we did pretty good.
Yeah.
We were doing stuff on The Sopranos. I was the only 16-year-old I knew that was doing that and helping with liquor promotions.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, I did really well there, and I had to stop because I had to focus on school.
Yep.
So I focused on school, went to college right away, left home at 17.
Wow.
Never returned. Had a full ride to go to SUNY Albany.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I screwed it up. Obviously,
Oops.
I partied a little too much.
Oh.
But it was fun.
I know that scenario.
Yeah. But during college, you know, I learned a lot. I did a lot of big shows with a lot of celebrities for the university. I did something with Hillary Clinton.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did a lot of things. And then my senior year, I actually...
Now tell me about that. That's like you did promotional things for them?
Yeah, so I did promotion. I actually started to book the deals for the university. Like I started off at the Student Association, which is extremely helpful, and learned a lot of things about business and marketing. And my senior year of college, they wound up hiring me at the university in their media and marketing office.
Wow.
So they gave me 15 credits, plus they paid me $15 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was great. And
Yeah.
then 2008 hit.
Uh-oh. Market crash.
Market crash. So,
Yep.
you know, schools went under, yada, yada, yada. And I wound up working, that's when I got into corporate America. So in college, I was working like 3 jobs. So I just picked one, and I started working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Wow.
It was great.
Yeah.
They taught me a lot of management skills, a lot of people skills, a lot of leadership skills. But I always found my way back to helping out the community. So through Enterprise, I would always focus on developing teen groups, or, you know, we did something at John Jay College in Queens, and that's always been my heart, because I remember living in a single family home and not having all the resources that I saw the other kids in college have. And I never want a child to feel like they can't succeed just based off of their home status, you know.
Yep. That's right.
So that kind of drives me. So to put everything into perspective, after working for corporate America for...
When you say working for corporate America, what exactly do you mean by working for corporate America?
So I worked in marketing agencies. I've worked mostly in management. I don't want to name the companies.
No.
But
you were promoting business.
I was always promoting business, whether it was other businesses or whether it was the business that I was hired for. And it just seemed very self-serving, working for corporate America. Everything had to have their name on it, or,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, that's what you're hired for,
Right.
to promote them.
Right, and then it's their, but not them. So like if I was hired by a company called Zone 5, I could say it because it's no longer in existence.
All right.
It was a marketing agency, but they had, you know, like if you do a website, you have somebody do a website for you. On the very bottom of the screen, it's the agency's name that's on the bottom of the screen. The agency is the one that's always highlighting themselves as, I did this for you.
Is that something that you do too, design websites?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, we do everything, soup to nuts, from websites, video production, ironically, and, you know, strategy, social media, we do everything.
Yeah. How do you reach the public? How do you bring your project to the target audience?
It's grassroots, always grassroots. Like you have to start out, and I tell everybody, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, websites,
Yep.
it's all to promote a dialogue.
All about, okay.
So no, I'm going like super basic. It's all to promote a dialogue. You want to have a conversation with the other person, or you're targeting another person to interact in a memory.
I was always intrigued by, when I was 14 years old, I was selling magazine subscriptions door to door. And in those days you could do that. And I was always intrigued by the fact that my job was to get their name on a piece of paper and then bring it to the closer. And the whole idea, even the word closer, always intrigued me, because that meant that guy had to come in and now he had to close the deal. So my job was to pique the interest. Their job was to get their name on a contract. And that's a closer. And I get it. And that's what happens here. I'm always intrigued by the fact when you have like an agent's a closer. You present everything you need to that agent, and that agent goes into the publisher to close the deal for you. And to say, look, here's the book you want, man. And they are experts in closing the deal. And that's what's really important. Having a great idea is one thing, but having that great idea work is another. You have to understand that, people come to me all the time saying, I could write a book. I could write a book. And I say, why? What's so special about your book?
Right.
Why would I want to even read it? Right. They go, oh, well, you don't know my life. I say, I don't want to live your life. I want to read about it. What are you going to tell me that'll make me want to turn the pages? What's so special? You know how many lives are out there? Billions of people have lived before you. Why is your story any better than theirs?
That's the whole point for making sure that your narrative is correct,
That's
right?
it.
You want to make sure that your story is compelling, and you want to make sure the right people are hearing that story.
Yep.
Right?
You have to find the hook.
Yes, and the hook is extremely important.
Yep.
So I help you through that process.
Yep.
And then I make sure you don't waste time or energy
Yeah.
doing things that you don't need to be doing.
Yeah, people come to you and say, I want to open up a pizzeria. And the first question is, why would you want to open a pizzeria when there's 7 on this block?
Exactly.
What is your pizzeria going to offer that those pizzerias don't already offer?
Exactly.
And that's the key. And you go, well, I have a special ingredient. Well, what is the special ingredient for your business? What does your business offer that no other business offers?
I have to tell you, I really like to help out those different types of businesses.
Yeah.
Like anybody that has like a unique niche.
Yeah.
I have one guy that does scalp micropigmentation. And what it is he literally puts a tattoo on your head.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
That's
completely
different.
different. But
That's
now
different.
he's like super successful. He's going to tattoo conventions and all the rest of that stuff because we found the right demographic for him.
And again, having a unique idea isn't always the formula for success.
Correct.
I mean, you could have a unique idea, but there are unique ideas that are stupid.
Yes.
And that happens. Just because you're going to sell pasta with peanut butter and jelly, it's different, but who in God's name is going to eat pasta and peanut butter and jelly?
Well, who would want
It's
a rock as a pet? You remember those pet rocks?
You're right. So when someone comes to me and says, I want to open up a peanut butter, jelly, and pasta business, I would say, who's going to eat this? And why? Convince me that there's people out there who would definitely eat peanut butter and jelly pasta. And if you could do that, and if you could show me, you may have something there. Unique is good, but not always successful.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. But it is fun.
Yeah, but it's fun, and it's something to work with.
Yeah.
And it's a place to begin. Wanting to be different is good, but being successfully different
Is a whole different
is a
ballgame.
whole different ballgame.
And
that's what you do.
That's what
you
I do.
help people think it through. And you've got to think it through carefully. Also, if it costs you $30 to make a product and you're selling it for $20, duh.
You already lost.
You're already lost. You're in trouble. So there are other things to consider. You have to understand all of the different elements of the business.
And that's where we also come into play. So one thing that I do that's different from most agencies is that I partner up with resources for small businesses. So like the small SBDC, and they give you free resources that help you make those types of decisions, that help you create a business plan and put you in the right direction. That way, by the time you get to the marketing aspect, you're ready.
Yeah.
I never push anybody
Yeah.
to get, hey, let's start. You're on this retainer and you have to. I would never do that
Yeah.
in a million years. It's mostly like, listen, I care about you. I want you to be successful. Why don't
Yeah.
we start out here?
Yeah, that's good thinking. And that's the whole idea. And sometimes, people say, I don't need anybody's help. Yes, you do. It's good to have somebody to bounce it off of.
Yeah.
I had the unique experience of sitting with a friend of mine who wanted to open a business. He went to this thing called SCORE,
Yeah.
and SCORE was brilliant. Here were these elderly business people who lived their lives in their businesses and did well. And now they sat with this kid and said, okay, let's go through a series of questions. And as they went through these questions. This kid said, "Oh, I didn't think of that." And they said, "Exactly." So they went through this whole thing, and this kid basically was going to open a bakery. He knew how to bake, and he knew how to make wonderful baked goods, but he didn't know about the cost of the equipment, how much rent it was going to be. And they basically said to him, "How many cookies do you have to sell
In
to
order to
pay
make
the
this?"
rent?"
That's right.
You know, and he had to sit and really think about it. And he said, "Well, a few." "Oh, no, 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 no. We want to know exactly how many cookies you have to sell. How much will it cost to make that cookie, and how much do you have to sell it for in order to make a business?" And by the time he got through the whole thing, he was pretty nervous because he realized that he'd have to work 10, 12 hours a day in order to produce what he had to produce.
That's right.
And people had to buy the things. And what would happen if they didn't? What do you do with the stale cookies? So they really opened his eyes, and they opened mine, because I just sat there and quietly listened. And I said, "Boy, I know one thing I'm not opening.
Yeah.
I'm not opening any bakery."
But that's what happens, and that's why
Yes.
we partner with these
Yeah.
agencies, because it's better for small business to get those resources from
So,
the beginning.
Michael, I want you to look into that camera, and I want you to tell them, should they start a business, and what's the very first thing they better be thinking?
You should start your own business. However, you got to think it through, and the first thing that you should focus on is, why do you want to start that business, and who is it going to benefit? If you don't do that and you don't really believe in your product or service, then
Then you're in trouble.
Then you're in
Go
trouble.
back to the drawing
go
board.
back to the drawing board. And understand that failure is inevitable, but failure is just the road to success.
Yeah.
So,
And you have to be careful, because if the failure is too great, you are going to fail. Business not going to make it. It all based on money, and you have to make the right money, or you're not going to make it. So, should you dare to open a business? Michael is telling you absolutely yes. Should you get a coach to help you? Michael is telling you absolutely yes. You don't have to do it on your own. You're a novice. That's why you need someone who's experienced to help you. There's no shame in asking for help. The shame is having a wonderful idea fail because you're not using resources. Michael, what a pleasure to have you here.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's been great. Any other thoughts?
Oh, I really appreciate this. Look forward to reading your
Oh,
book.
good. Do that. Be your own kind of hero.
That's right.
Sybil was her hero in her way. Find the hero in you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being one-on-one with Michael Stephensen and Vin Dacquino. Thank you for being here.